Hi, you guys. Welcome to Winning with Win. It's about 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time now because, as I said many times, and I'll get confused by this many times, Arizona doesn't do daylight saving time. So when the rest of you people do daylight savings time, Arizona goes back to Mountain Standard Time. I don't know, but yeah. But anyway, we're going to talk about how to write a book and my best advice. And I remember last week when I said that I am speaking on PodFest, how, how to be authentically you with a disability. I have had privilege and honor of speaking at PodFest. Well, I've had the privilege and honor of speaking at PodFest twice now, and then I had the privilege of and honor of going as guest right before COVID hit, right before the world shut down, and that was the last thing I did. I went back last year, and so I went back last year because I got called out there to speak. And this year I'm being called out to speak virtually, which means virtually from Arizona. But I love that family, and a huge shout out to one of the podcasters, Chris Commentals. How Chris Comensals started all this monkey business is he did a meetup. And now you got to remember, he's in Orlando, Florida. And so he did a meetup in Orlando, Florida about podcasting. That turned into over 1,000 person event. That turned into holding the Guinness Book of World Records event, and all that participated. I think they did that last year. So I either go in person and or speak virtually. This year I speak virtually. I don't know whether I put it out to the universe that I wanted to speak but couldn't get down there virtually, couldn't get down there physically because of the timing. I don't know whether the podcast people were listening to my podcast or something told me, told Chris about me that I wanted to speak, but I couldn't get down there physically. And so, yeah. And people have been asking me, do you still like podcasting? Is that your job, or is that something you like to do? And yes, I still like podcasting. In fact, and this is the subject we're going to talk about today. In fact, today there is a gentleman by the name of Nick, I forget his last name, and he's talking about book publishing right now. This is what I was just listening to before I came to you guys. And so if you go to Podfest and buy your tickets, you can see all the tracks, including my own. But so that is Podfest. If you look up the speakers, I'm a case study speaker, although I am a speaker, not necessarily a case study speaker. I am a speaker. So the reason why I wrote a book is because I wanted to get my legacy out there, and there are thousands and thousands of people that can help you write books. Nick is only one of them, and he admitted that he's only one of them. I interviewed a self published author by the name of Stephen Kidd, and he said to me, because I said, you guys, I'm threatening to write a book. I mean, it's sitting on my laptop. So I'm starting to write a book again. This would be my 13th book. Now that I'm established in Arizona and not in the midst of a move, I could get back to podcasting and I could get back to punking away at the keyboard. But my debut book, my 13th debut book, is going to be about podcasting. And I tried publishing it in Aspen and it didn't work. So that's been sitting on my desktop brewing like a good cup of coffee, a good latte. And so I've been thinking, how am I going to publish this book? But through my resources of interviewing, I found a person that could help me. I'm asking my financial team if they would give me the blessing to publish a book. And I will see what that comes out. But the reason why I wrote a book after my mom died is because I wanted to teach people about cerebral palsy, and I wanted to teach people about the legacy, how I grew up. And it's not, I Come a Win is not a mentally heavy book. It's just a light read to educate you about cerebral palsy. So by the time I published the book, and I actually talked about the book years ago, and as it was being published, and I put it out to the universe, I was lucky enough to take a leadership workshop out of Peak Parenting out of Denver, Colorado at the time. And I was lucky enough to have a reunion with those guys. We did, I think, a 7-week long leadership workshop. Well, one of my goals was to write a book. And you were able to invite whoever you wanted to your dream board vision meeting. And I wish I still had the dream board down here, but it got thrown out. But after mom dies, I plan to write a book about legacy stuff, and I plan to turn it into I Come a Win and I Come a WIN. And my dad looked at me as if I was nuts. He looked at me as if I was nuts, but because of his support, I was able to do it. And then that book sold over 1 million copies, which made $1 million. Over that, I made over $1,000 by myself with that one single book. Now, I just self-published the book. I got it edited. I did get it edited, but I just self-published the book. Now that I am an expert in my field, would I self-publish a book again by myself? That's no way in hell, because I can't handle the algorithms changing on Amazon. I can't handle the algorithms changing on YouTube. I can't handle the algorithms changing on podcasts, let alone promoting a book on social media. So what today I'm going to do is contact interviewee. I won't say a friend yet, but I'm going to see if he can pick me up as a client. That will be my spring/summer project, to get the book edited, to get the book up and rolling, and see if he can do it with my help. Otherwise, I have a backup plan also with my help. I mean, the author can't um, have people do it, and I'm talking about authors in general. You can't have people do it and sit back and watch the money roll into your bank account. You need to have you need to put the blood, sweat, and tears in. And now that I'm established author, um, and I should here, hang on. You guys can still see me, but I'm going to go get the book so you um, guys know what I'm talking about, and I'll have Mark stream it at the bottom of the bottom of the screen. So hang on.
Hey there, Win. How's everything going? You were talking about all that's going on in the world of disability, and all in that space. So I was like,
Yes,
wow, it's the amazing Win, and she's going to be amazingly doing amazing stuff at the Podfest thing that's going on. Because I was
I
actually talking
am.
to,
I
I
am.
know you are, because
Once
I was talking to somebody that you love and adore, and they're going to be there as well. As a matter of fact, I think they are already there. They may be doing a speech
yeah.
today, but me and you are good friends with Brian Showman and
Yes,
Nancy Barrows and
yes.
all in that space, and they're
Big
going to be some
time,
of the
big
speakers.
time, you guys. Big time. They, Brian and Nancy, because I thought of you, Monk, the other day, because Brian and Nancy said it's streamed on Pod TV, and
Mhm, it is.
of the Pod Fest people go, "What is Pod TV?" And of course, I almost tried it into that. And so, Mark, if you would put that link at the bottom of the screen, that would be wonderful.
I
That
will definitely do that and everything. I'm glad I just had to pop in because I saw you giving me
uh,
some
and
cues, but I'm going to put that link in so you can do some more
yeah,
conversation and everything along those lines. I was just
yeah,
going to ask really quickly because Nancy and me were also talking about, there's a strike over there in Los Angeles because apparently the support staff of teachers, including some of those that work with the uh,
what?
disabled community, everything, are actually protesting because the support staff, quote unquote, not the teachers, but a lot of the teachers are supporting
Yeah,
them, feeling that they
oh
are not
yeah,
enough money.
that's a whole nother subject in itself, people. That's a whole nother subject in itself. Oh yeah, and I'll mark down that you say that. I'll devote a whole episode to that, and so people know about that. But um, I was going to talk to people about. I am in the process of talking to people about how to write a book and
Yep,
why I did a book, and then based off my podcast.
no doubt. Well, that's the link you wanted me to do. So
Yep,
I'm gonna have that running across the screen. I'm gonna jump off the screen. I
yep.
just saw you leaning in it, so knew that you needed at least a little bit of things going on. If there's anything else, just holler. But I'm always watching and seeing what's going on. But I'm gonna let you talk about what you've got to talk about with the book.
Okay. So basically, um, why I was leaning in is because I was trying to book bad podcasts and didn't come prepared. But I would say if you have a subject on your heart that needs to get out to public publicly, and if it's a subject matter piece that needs to get out publicly, one of the things that Nick mentioned, and yes, you can go um, back and watch Nancy's speech and Brian's speech. They did a fabulous keynote yesterday on the power of LinkedIn. Now, granted, I would be posting my book on LinkedIn. I would be posting it everywhere, But the reason why I need help is number one, I have a disability, and I admit that through and through. Number two, I can't keep up with the Amazon algorithms and the Amazon changes and the Amazon stuff. I cannot keep up with that. So what I'm going to do is either talk to the person I just spoke this morning, which is Nick, or talk to the person I interviewed, and which is Steve Kidd, who also helps authors. And so get help. Get help if you want to publish a book. But you need to put something on the internet first, and then you can do all this fabulous stuff with that based off one piece of content. You can't just start a podcast and think, oh, they will come. Oh, they will come and listen. You need to start with one piece of content, one writing on Medium, one YouTube video, one one everything else. And you need to start with one piece of content and then think about, and we'll, after I talk about the teachers strike and all that stuff next week, I will dive into how and why to start a podcast, because and I will dive into how and why and start the podcast. But Mark, you gave me a great idea for next week. And so basically, what I want you guys to think about is that you need to, each of us, have our individual gift, even as we recover from illness, aka bronchitis. And so each of us have our individual gifts. You need to start sharing your individual gifts with the world, and you need to start sharing what you're passionate about. Because even though this is not a paid job for me, I don't get paid doing this. I wish I did. But even though this is not a paid job for me, I took a job that I absolutely hated called education, and then am trying to go back to school, still trying to go back to school for a journalism degree. But in the meantime, I'm doing what I love, because why not do what you love, and why not just do what you love, and why not just live life to the fullest? And so you need to start with one piece of content. You need to start sharing your gifts to the world, and I will leave it at that. Next week, grab the Kleenex boxes, and grab the Kleenex boxes, because I am going to be, it's teaching, how do I put this without listening to this? Teaching is near and dear to my heart. I don't care if you're a retired teacher or a struggling teacher in LA. And LA is only 6 hours from Arizona. And if I had time, I would go support those teachers, but I'll support them from a distance. But LA and Arizona are neighbors. So I see the signs, Los Angeles, pulling out of here. And so, So basically, LA and Arizona are neighbors. But whether you're a retired teacher or just starting out, we're going to talk about my teaching experience we're also going to talk about the teachers that have instilled in me the love of life. And basically, let's just say there are a couple of teachers in my life that, and when I say teachers, they, and I was very, very lucky to have the educational background that I did. I was very lucky. The only reason why I moved down here is because I needed more financial freedom and more physical freedom. So more financial than physical. But the physical freedom is nice and not dealing with the snow is nice. But I am very blessed that I went to I'm very blessed by my educational background, and people think, wow, you did something and you went throughout school and just are the champion that you are. And no, I had teachers and aides and everything else support me. So we'll get into that as of next week, and we'll get into that and we'll talk about the teachers strike out in LA. I didn't even know there was one until it was brought to my attention. And I know that behind the scenes, Nancy is, because she admitted this, on Saturday when I got an email last night on Saturday night to go into Sunday, and Brian emailed all of us and said, hey, for those of you that are speaking at Podcast Movement, you're welcome to come out on Shout Out Saturday. Shout Out Saturday is, they do it on LinkedIn, they do it on Pod TV, they do it all every which way. So I got my little butt into StreamYard because I've been following, not so much Nance, but I've been following Brian for years. Brian has an interesting story himself. The reason why that Brian and I get along so well is because he was also premature, and I've worked with Brian on and off. So when I got that email, I was like, yes, please. Any chance to promote my stuff, any chance to promote me, any chance to promote my story. So basically, you're going to have to start sharing your gifts with the world, and whether it's singing or writing books, or whether it's podcasting, or whether it's poetry, or whether it's just being kind to people. There we go. There's a talent that people should have more often. Excuse me for the coughing attack. Now, granted, I shouldn't be doing as much as I'm doing as I'm recovering from bronchitis, but that's okay. I'm on med. But people should be kind to other people and just start sharing their gifts and talents with the world. And with that being said, next week we'll talk about the teaching strike. The week after that, and my personal experience, the week after that, we'll talk about how to start a podcast and why to start a podcast to share your gifts with the world. And I will let you guys go from there. And next week, because we're talking about the teaching um, strike, I'm going to actually stream this to my own YouTube channel so people know that I'm alive, and people may not um, always hear me. They always hear me in their ears. They rarely see me. So I'm going to stream this to the own YouTube channel because I want to. I see a blue button here, and I hope Mark doesn't mind when I hit the stream to the audience button, but I want to test the buttons. And so,
No, I won't mind at all. As a matter of fact, I think it'll be a wonderful thing, and you need to be
yeah,
the star that you are and
yeah,
all in that space. So I
I
will
want to
not
test
mind
the
in
I
the least
I want
bit and all in that space because you are a superstar, an amazing superstar. So I will
to
not mind in the least bit when you do that. So that will be a wonderful thing when you have that privilege. And I do know that spring is wonderful, except for not for the folks that have allergies and bronchitis, because I know it's not
no,
good for you. Because I actually have a dear friend that has allergies, and they are actually two dear friends that have allergies, and they are not too pleased with the pollen that is blowing around North
no,
Carolina. So
exactly, and add in you guys asthma on top of bronchitis. Oh boy, that's fun. And so, as I said to Agent Care, and I'll tell you, I'll give you this quick heads up. If you have access to urgent care, use it. Number one, use it. I have always been the biggest fan of my general practitioner, although I see a lot of doctors and a lot of specialties due to CP. And so um, I,
did you see the new StreamYard thing, by the way? Because actually, StreamYard allows you to actually air it directly as a guest and a host to your own YouTube
yeah,
and your
what
own.
that's what we're going to do next week. That's
Okay.
going to the next week. I want to press buttons here and test out the new buttons. And so I was just going to give you guys a heads up. If you feel like you should go to urgent care and if you have access to urgent care, use urgent care. Don't necessarily use your PCP because at this time your PCP is dealing with a lot. So yes, trust me. That's how I got the 10-pound headache off my head on Thursday. Actually, on Friday, the 10-pound headache stayed with me for 24 hours. And yes, I tested to make sure it wasn't COVID, to make sure it wasn't the flu. I said to urgent care on Friday morning at 8 a.m., I said, I need to get this 10-pound book off my head. So, because I called my PCP, believe it or not, you guys, and they go, we have nothing. We have we have nothing. You need to go to urgent care. And I'm like, okay. So I had help getting myself to urgent care. I'm like, I need to go to urgent care. I need to get this 10-pound brick off my head because with me and double weakened lungs due to asthma and CP, we'll get into that story in a couple of weeks, why I have double weakened lungs. I am super afraid of landing up with pneumonia, which, trust me, back in the 90s, I've always landed up with pneumonia, spent a week in the hospital. So, me and pneumonia don't get along. So that's why I was so freaked out when I got the 10-pound book on my head because I didn't want it to turn into pneumonia. And that's what I literally said to urgent care. Now, my pro tip is don't wait until the kids get out of school. Don't wait until everyone gets off of work. Go if you can at 8 a.m. At 8 a.m. in the morning as soon as they open, because they're fresh, you're fresh, and you're not sitting around with a million people. I'm not kidding. By the time and of course I was double mask, but by the time I rolled out of there was two people waiting to get in.
Wow.
And so I rolled in. I was the only one in there other than my aide, who I knew. But we rolled in, and I said, "Look, I need to get this 10 pound book off my head within 5 minutes." They called me back, and so that's the power of timing too. So if you guys ever, 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 and I'm talking people in general, women tend to do this more than men. If you guys ever feel like there's something wrong with me, don't always run to the ER. Don't always, well, especially don't run to the ER. It's too much. It's too much time. It's too much financially. But consider urgent care. Consider taking supplements every single day. Consider keeping the immune system. Echinacea, black elderberry. Black elderberry became popular during COVID.
Right.
I take echinacea pretty much every day just to keep my immune system strong. And so consider if those are not helping, and I do take a multivitamin every day, but if those are not helping and you have a 10 pound book on your head, consider going to the urgent care because, yeah, how are we supposed to function if and take care of others if we can't take care of ourselves?
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Hey, Win, question for you, because I think I just heard you, and I want to make sure that I heard you correctly and everything, because I heard you loud and clear. And yes, I'm probably one of those guilty people as well, even though I must say that I do have, in case I'm not feeling well, some of those COVID kits that the post office will send to your house. So they are in the box and everything. So when I'm not feeling well, I will use those to test to see if that's what is going on. But so far, I've been under good health, the best I can tell. But it seems to me that you just said that men and male folks are stubborn. I think that's what I heard you say. Did you say that we're stubborn when it comes to medicine and that we don't like to go to the doctor?
I said it loud and clear. And yes, people can ask me for that one. Yes, I said that loud and clear because I personally know this from my dad. He was the most stubborn person ever, and especially when he got majorly sick, he wanted everyone to go away, including me. And so, but in the cancer starts out with stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. By the time you get to stage 4, if it hasn't metastasized every which way to the brain, because cancer can go every which way, there's nothing they can do. And so basically, my dad wouldn't go to and this is public knowledge, he wouldn't go to the doctor. All he wanted to do was pound the pain with Advil and Tylenol. Well, by the time he went to the hospital, he landed up we were 99% positive that he would land up on dialysis.
Wow.
Because of him pounding the Advil and not going back and forth, and him just strictly pounding the Advil and not switching it off, which they say you should do. They say, now granted, I'm not a medical expert here, but I have enough personal experience to know you need to you need to switch Tylenol and Advil.
You got to balance them out and everything, but like you said, you have to follow the advances in medicine. You don't know this, so I have to put it on the blast a couple of times here on the network and everything. And I think I've
Uh,
talked to you before about my own
no,
dysgraphia, but my brother has a ailment as well, but it is a ailment that shortens your life expectancy. And all in that space is actually the same ailment that took away my aunt, even though she lived with it for about 30, 35 years. But my younger brother and the father of my two nephews does have MS. So they actually did a big rally for him recently and all in that space because it was he's part of that car club, the slingshots, the Polaris slingshots that look like the Batmobile to me and all, but he is a member of, and actually the co-president of that particular club. So his club members, as well as I think 2 or 3 other clubs, came out to raise money for MS because this is National MS Month, in addition to just generally National Disability Month and everything. But it
yeah,
is definitely National MS Month. So they did the fundraiser. I think they gave away some kits to keep your medicine in. They gave some gun locks. They gave away some ribbons. And they had the food trucks there and a number of other things. And they did
I love
raise
it.
some
Yeah,
money to help in that cause. And the one thing that I know is that he does stay on his medicine, and the medical advances have gotten a lot
yeah,
better because my aunt lived with it, I think, for about 30, 35 years. Who knows? Malik may live double his life because he's 50.
yeah.
In this year, he became 50 something. So he became 53 back in October. So he'll be 54 in this particular October and everything. So who knows? Maybe he'll live to be 108.
Uh, let's hope. Um, but you're right. You're right. And everyone should not only follow the medical advice from their doctor, but you should follow your own body's medical advice because your own body is speaking to you. My body spoke to me last week and said, "Get this 10-pound book off my head." It turned um, it turned out that I had bronchitis, and it was more of bronchitis than a sinus infection. But I am so freaked out when it comes to pneumonia. I am so freaked out when it comes to COVID. I am so freaked out when it comes to bronchitis now. And so always, 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 always listen to your own body, not only listen to the advice of doctors, but always listen to your own body. Always try and follow up the best you can. And I know that Pod, I am BTV before we switched over to Pod TV a long time ago, was doing great medical work.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely a lot of medical programming. We're hoping to have some more medical programmers and definitely trying to reach out to some of those doctors to come back on to share their wisdom. But I'm going to let you close out and all that because you're just doing a great job on the show. I'm a big fan of yours, but I will say, as I get ready to pop off again and everything, that the medical advances have been just amazing because the other person that is very dear to me is my brother's girlfriend, a longtime girlfriend now, and his possibly third wife if they ever jump the broom again. But she actually had a heart transplant and she's now lived with it for almost a year, and it is amazing to see her. You can't even tell that she's got a new heart and all in that space, but it did take because we know that not every heart takes, but it did take and all in that space. And I know that Phil, who you know as well, is actually working with Tim Zone as the Leukemia Man of the Year, even though he didn't have leukemia. I think he had a kidney transplant. So it's oftentimes amazing when people are able to have these transplants. And I think he's got another surgery coming up soon and everything. But it is definitely amazing what the doctors are able to do in the sense of that, because you can't even tell that these folks have had these if they follow the regimens that the doctors ask them to do.
Yeah. So basically, what we're saying, you guys, is follow not only your doctor's medical advice, but follow your own advice because um, that's going to be the easiest. And with that being said, I'll see you guys next week, probably on Tuesday. I'll probably back on Thursday. I have to discuss that with Mark, and we're going to talk about special ed and teachers next week. And as I said, I will share this with my audience as well. And so I will catch you guys next week. Bye, you guys. Have a great day. Bye, you guys.